think if you're alive and you have any kind of energy going at all, I think things kind of naturally evolve. You evolve from one thing to another thing.
With all that's going on in the world, I know exactly what we need. Yeah. Rest in power, Bill Withers, legend. This is a special song. Music brings us together. Right? So let's sing this one. When I wake up in the morning, and the sunlight hurts my eyes, and something without warning, there's heaven on my mind. Then I look at you, and the world's alright with me. Everything's gonna be alright. Just one look at you, and I know it's gonna be. Thank you, Mr. Withers. Your legacy continues. Okay, now, sanitize your hands and dance.
Hi, I'm Gloria. And I'm Victoria. We're the skincare chemists behind the educational platform and clinical skincare brand, Chemist Confessions.
One thing you should know about your skincare is that behind every product, there is a chemist.
Hi, guys. Welcome back to Chemist Confessions. It is me and Victoria talking about all things skincare. It's a very casual human conversation.
Remember last episode we said antioxidants and anti-pollution.
We lied! I'm not saying all botanicals are bad. Of course, there are quite a few. Oh, that should be a next episode. Botanicals with good data.
Helpful botanicals.
Yes. Yeah.
It's not common that you'll hear people to say, use AHA in the morning, but in acne, that's totally normal.
J-Lo recently launched her products.
Yo, if she does a butt sheet mask, I think
I
that
will
would
buy
be.
it.
If you don't take away that you need a sunscreen from this episode, then why are you watching?
Please do not spot treat your face with sunscreen. So many of you have questions about the other kinds of acids in skincare, so this is what today's all about.
And a very fair point, because the other acids are actually pretty cool.
We wrote a book during COVID.
Woo-hoo.
It's our COVID baby.
The only COVID baby.
All of our work at Chemist Confessions culminated into a blog. And if you go to Skincare Decoded Chapter 3 on skincare on sunscreen, you'll see that SPF 15 is not half as effective as SPF 30. That's not what that value means. It can still be a good daily kind of some protection to go for, especially with something like mineral sunscreen. Again, texture is king. We were asked to write a book that really summarizes all of our educational content. We really used to joke that one day there will be a poor intern struggling to organize all of our blog posts, and it turned out to be us.
Yeah, sure was.
And at the end of the day, we just really want Skincare Decoded to be a book where beginners and experts alike can take something away from it.
Yeah, and we hope you will too. So let's get started and elevate your skincare routine. Okay. Hey guys.
Hi everyone.
Thank you so much for coming to our book launch party.
It's a lunch party.
Yeah. So, but yeah, can't believe we can finally celebrate. And holy cow, I don't think we ever expected that in our lives we would write a book
So we're just honestly really happy, and so happy that you guys could like be here with us. Yes.
It's a celebration.
Yeah. So for those of you who probably found us only through the book, we can kind of give you an intro of like exactly how we came to be.
Why are we the way we are,
Yes,
Victoria?
why? I don't know. No one knows.
So for those of you new to us, I'm Gloria.
And I'm Victoria.
The two of us are both formulation chemists.
Our first names rhyme and our last names rhyme, so it's a whole ordeal every time we introduce ourselves.
Yeah, I know. We didn't make it up, actually.
Yeah. But yeah, we're two skincare chemists.
We've met at work. We both were working as formulation chemists for a really big beauty conglomerate.
Cubicle buddies.
Yep, that's how we got into the industry, how we got to know each other, and we found out that we shared the same frustrations with the industry and the wonky sense of humor.
Yeah, and I think ultimately we thought we would actually leave the industry for something else, and just so happened to leave at the same time too.
Yeah.
All a very weird story
very
of timing and
lucky
fate
or
and
unlucky.
Yeah, we don't know yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, after that we decided, well, before we leave, why not have one last hurrah and do sort of a Instagram blog, educational blog, kind of to share our insider knowledge and see if that would even be helpful, or if people even want to talk a little nerdy.
Yeah, exactly. And honestly, we were expecting the whole spiel to die into the abyss.
Yeah.
So we were really pleasantly surprised when the accounts are gaining traction. And lo and behold, I think now we have a line of products. We're still blogging. We have a podcast now. Our whole mission here is to make skin science fun for everyone, and all of this has led us to today and the book.
Yeah. Can't believe it. We did not think we would write a book, but our lovely publisher, Walden Owen, had approached us through an email that we thought might have been spam, because who would ask us to write a book on skincare science?
It sounded very scammy.
Yeah.
I was like, hello, would you like a book about your content? We're like, yes.
Yeah, so it honestly felt really right for us. They felt like the right partner for us because they do really beautiful visuals, as you could tell.
It was kind of perfect timing. We've been writing for a while, but the two of us are very whimsical on what we write, and we realized that, hey, for maybe a really lost soul, it's not the most organized way to learn about skincare. So we really wanted to put it all together in a book. We had a lot of existential crises while writing the book about who it's for, how deep in it should we get, and ultimately we decided that we wanted to be simple and fun and engaging enough that the absolute beginner can read through the book without getting lost, but at the same time be comprehensive enough that even seasoned professionals or just ultimate skincare nerd can still take something away from it.
So imagine all those goals and then trying to put that into a fun, inviting book.
So fun.
I think we didn't realize how challenging that would be. We had so many, again, like, we didn't know who the reader would be. How would they read it? Would they read it from front to back, or would they want to just read by section that they're trying to troubleshoot? So we really tried to cater to all of those, and during that process, I'm sure Gloria has thought of strangling me multiple times. Very fair. It was, I don't know how many times we rewrote.
So the book has 3 sections. The first section is what we call the base of your pyramid, your fundamentals. So that's your cleanse, moisturize, and sun protection. And then the second section is on the top actives that I'm sure it's buzzy, it's effective. I'm sure a lot of you have heard of. So that's your AHAs, retinoids, vitamin C, and niacinamide.
We call the big 4.
The big 4.
And go.
In the last section, we try to tie it all together in a routine section. The chapter that made me want to strangle Victoria is at the very beginning, the moisturizer section, which we rewrote probably a solid 3-4 times.
We did. It was our first chapter to the book, even writing. So you know, the book evolved as we wrote the rest of the pages. So unfortunately, moisturizers definitely went through a lot of renos. And I can safely say Gloria probably does not want to read about sunscreen anymore.
Yeah, that was so difficult to write. So sunscreen it's so important to everyone's routine, not just from a age prevention perspective, but it's there to prevent skin cancer. So we really wanted to take it very seriously, but the science is so dense, and as we mentioned, our ethos was trying to make it fun and approachable. Oh, it was so difficult writing the sunscreen section.
Yeah, I know that there was a couple nights I would send Gloria my chapter.
I left it unseen.
Yeah, and knew that she could not take it. So yeah, that. Other than that, holy cow! I don't know. In some ways, I feel like now that it's all over and the book is printed, we're like, oh my god, it is so
real.
great! Like that was quite a journey. Like I've learned so much. Like it was all good. But now, like when we actually think about those moments, we're like, wow, we almost didn't survive.
Yep. I remember we had those. We had written the manuscript, just the text. And then we went to our editors and we got the full spread printout to edit, to just kind of sketch on. And when we got those, we're like, oh, we're so far away.
Yeah, actually, fun fact, it was supposed to be done in 6 months. It actually took us close to a year to write it. But yeah, I feel like just to give you an example, we should dive right in and kind of share a few chapters that I don't know, near and dear to us. Meaningful, impactful.
Yeah.
Answer some existential questions. Yeah.
So the first section I want to share is, as we mentioned, sunscreen was super difficult to write. And what we did throughout the book is, other than the body text, we have little tidbits, like recurring themes like the biology, debunk myth, and we have this corner called Brief History of, which we had a lot of fun just incorporating some fun facts with really silly sketches to jazz it up.
Yeah, and also if you guys have any questions on anything we talk about or burning skincare questions, do please put them in the Q&A. We'll answer them live at the very end of this whole event. So yeah, but yeah, sunscreens. I would say that was kind of fun for me as the doodler. I got to draw some historic bubble cartoons, which was a lot of fun. I didn't think we'd go down this road, but if you haven't seen it, we got historical bubble guys.
A Greek bubble douche for,
but we said we'd read some passages. So if you would open your books and turn to page 75, I'm going to read you a passage. But this is actually just an excerpt from the Brief History of Sunscreen that I think is always cool to hear about. So, paragraph is, by the 20th century, sunscreens became co-modified and incorporated actual sunscreen filters like zinc oxide and benzyl salicylate. The French chemist Eugene Schuler, the founder of L'Oreal, was the first to produce a true chemical sunscreen. We must also give credit to Austrian chemist Franz Greder for not only developing the first truly effective sunscreen formula, but also creating the SPF, sun protection factor, metric that we still use today. Other than topical sun protection, people have also been donning sun protection gear throughout the history, based on historical descriptions and images of items ranging from sunbrellas and bonnets to terrifying leather masks, actually called vissards. It seems we've known about the dangers of sun damage for a long time.
This has one of my favorite sketches from the entire book.
The vissard. Looks like something out of The Mask.
So if you Google vissards, you'll find some really terrible images and just this blackened leather mask looks like it belongs to a serial killer. And funny enough, when we were doing the sketch for it, we were explaining to our illustrator what we're looking for. It's like, oh, we think it would be really funny if we have a character wearing all the sun protection gears at one time. Right. And we told them what a vissard was, and they gave back a cartoon doodle of what looks like someone with black face.
Unfortunately, yeah, we were like, this isn't gonna work for the book.
How about more leather colored?
Yeah, so we're gonna go more leather colored, and that was one of the fun doodles for sure. But yeah, so other than that, at least for sunscreens, for me, that's something that as a chemist I got to dabble in. I kind of worked more in anti-aging, which is a very broad category, and I like to think that sunscreens also can be considered your anti-aging serum. So just honestly a really important chapter, and I feel like a really important chapter this summer considering all of the crazy PR going on right now.
Oh yeah, for sure. Please wear sunscreen.
Yeah. So, but anyways, we are going to transition to Gloria. What is your favorite chapter?
Oh, they're all my favorites. But I'm actually really proud of our entire routine section. We didn't reference any specific products in this book because we didn't really want to deal with the red tape and the difficulties of maybe working with a lot of different brands and the politics thereof. But we still want to be helpful and try to put something together that can help you basically make meaningful changes to your routine. And one of the topics that we get a lot of questions for on our blog and on our Instagram is hyperpigmentation. And a lot of times people are looking for that holy grail pigmentation serum, but the reality is hyperpigmentation is an issue that really takes a whole routine. So we broke it down, and of course there's so many ingredients that's claimed to fight to give you that even skin color and the glow that everyone's looking for, that it's really hard to wrap your head around just what really works. So we broke it down into this chapter. So in Meet Your Core Pigment Fighters, there are tons of pigment fighting active ingredients out there, and they all work to regulate or slow down pigment product one way or another. One of the most common targets for these ingredients is our friend tyrosinase. Since tyrosinase determines how fast melanin is actually created, telling you to take a chill pill is a very effective strategy. Don't tell your girlfriends that. Of course, tyrosinase isn't going to take it without a fight. This is why the most effective brightening treatments contain a blend of ingredients. We classify these hyperpigmentation fighters into 3 general ingredient categories: isolated compounds, multitaskers, and botanical brighteners. And we actually have tables of some of our favorite pigment fighting ingredients and the percentages where they've been tested for and how to think about them as blends, because the reality is they all tackle them from different angles. So that was one of my most, I think it's one of the geekiest chapters we wrote, because we walk through the biological pathway of how melanin is produced. But what's really cool, what I love about the subject is you actually have a solution, a tested and validated solution for these different steps of melanin creation to help regulate it so that to promote even skin tone. And yeah, I think that was really one of my favorites.
No, I think that's a great point, because it's such a great snapshot of like how complicated tackling one specific skin concern can be. You can look at it from a biology angle, you can look at it from a product angle, and then you can look at it from a formula ingredient angle. There's so many ways, and I think that this made the most sense to us, like being able to somehow put order to these pigmentation ingredients, and then being able to create like a more comprehensive strategy. Whereas a lot of times I feel like for me, if you blindly try to shop for a pigmentation serum, it just feels like it's kind of like a shotgun approach. You're like, I guess this pigmentation serum covers everything, but that's not really how it is. And the other thing too with pigmentation is that it can take half a year to see any real significant improvement. So totally agree. Really like that one. I would also like to add, I really like the AHA decision
Oh my
tree.
gosh, yeah.
That was also quite an adventure. How many times we had to tell people, oh, the arrows need to go a different direction.
We made a decision tree around AHAs, and the thing is, this whole category exploded the past couple of years. And you have 35% glycolic with a 25% blend and 18% that, and people are really lost. And it was really tough trying to generalize it in a way that's helpful for people, so people can kind of look at the tree, look at their product, and see, oh, I'm using something that's about mid-tier in terms of strength. This is how I level up, or this is how I dial back because I'm experiencing irritation. And I think it's really, that was tough.
Laura's also not mentioning how many times we actually redrew that diagram.
Nice.
Yeah, so, but I really like that. I think that was, I don't know, very proud of that moment for
Yeah.
us. And finally, probably one chapter we should, or not even one chapter, one section we should explain is the Chemist Commandments.
Oh, we're
We are
going
not creating
backwards
a
in the book.
religion, I promise. Yeah, so the commandments, there are general guidelines on how you want to think about just good habits to have for your routine. We would say that these are kind of, it's just kind of a good framework or rules to live by when you start building out your routine, and also how to think about it in terms of long term. But yeah, we should probably share, Gloria, what is your favorite commandment?
I think mine is the pain isn't gain one. I'm someone that loves AHAs. My skin is very acid tolerant. I have done many high level peels in my life. But then once we started Chemist Confessions, we realized that people are getting a little too brave with these high level actives. We have people reach out to us and say, hey, like I bought this 20% TCA on Amazon, or I'm using 70% glycolic peel at home. And we're like, whoa. And I think sometimes there's a belief out there that your skin has to tingle or has to hurt for it to mean that it's working, and it's not really the case. Sure, there are products out there that can make your skin tingle a little bit. Mild irritation is normal, but the goal isn't to look like a raw lobster or cooked lobster. And yeah, that's I feel like it's so important. We love our active, but since we started Chemist Confessions, we also realized that it's really important to know when to dial back and just really, really protect your skin barrier. Again, going back to the basic chapter, before you even get fancy with active ingredients, if you can find the right moisturizer, sunscreen, and cleanse, that goes a long way.
Yeah, and I think, when we first started blogging, we would say concentration is key. Like, make sure you're getting enough. And somehow, with the way marketing has changed and a more educated consumer, brands are realizing that percentages can be powerful, and now it's getting a little out of hand. So I feel like right now, especially, pain isn't gain is like really important, because there's way too many products out there that are actually quite potent, and it's too easy to want to layer and try to cover all your bases. And
again, if you have questions about any of these things we're talking about, leave it in the chat. We'll have a Q&A section towards the end.
Yeah, I guess for me, this also goes hand in hand with what we were talking about. I'm actually quite a minimalist. So yeah, for me, simplicity is key, is like a big value for me. I think that when I was in high school, when I started having really bad acne, for me, it just felt like I needed to just exercise the demons that is acne lesions and try everything, really. And I realized that's really not helpful, and your skin actually can only tolerate so much. And for me, I really can't stick to 10-step routine either. So that, I think, also can help when you approach skincare for the first time, because it is very overwhelming. Even for us, we can get lost too. So
definitely check out the commandment section if you need a quick dial back and rethink how to strategize your skincare routine.
Okay, I think it's fun. It's
time for questions.
Thank you guys for sending us all your questions through the invite. We got a lot of really good ones. We actually had to narrow down to just a few. So let's start off with the first one.
The first one is a loaded one.
All right. Question is,
can you decode Paula's Choice Extra Care Non-Greasy Sunscreen? By the way,
SPF 50.
Skincare names are a mouthful. It uses chemical filters to block out UV radiation. The ingredients list contains vitamin A, C, and E. I'm worried that there isn't enough vitamin A or C compared to the vitamin E. There's also titanium dioxide in the other ingredient section. Does that mean that the sunscreen has both chemical and physical filters? Is the titanium dioxide used for a different purpose?
We would consider Paul Jung to be an expert user.
Those are great questions.
He is totally breaking down the IL. He is seeing those actives. He even he can catch that there's titanium dioxide. So super awesome question. It's going to take a little moment for us to break it down, but we have the IL printed here. Yeah.
First things first, he pointed out that vitamin E so vitamin E is an ingredient that is rarely used at 1% or over.
Texture sticky.
It's pretty gross. And he pointed out that the vitamin C and A on the list is right next to vitamin E, so it's absolutely correct to assume that the vitamin C and A are also around probably the 1% mark max. And we should also point out that the vitamin C that they chose to use is sodium ascorbyl phosphate, which is a derivative of the classic L-ascorbic acid.
Yes.
And the vitamin A uses retinol palmitate instead of the more well-known retinol version. So I would say, based on where it is, we would expect it to work as a protective antioxidant. It works to protect maybe the avobenzone, the sunscreen filters that's in this product, but it's probably not going to be, we wouldn't expect the same level of antioxidant protection as a C ferulic antioxidant serum.
Yeah. And I just wanted to point out the vitamin C derivative, sodium ascorbyl phosphate, that SAP ingredient. You want to really think about it more in terms of like the 5% and higher range. I actually really like it as a derivative ingredient to look out for. But yeah, would agree that, you're really not relying on this to really quench your own free radicals and protect you from that photo damage. And then he also asked,
dioxide.
Yes, about titanium dioxide. Great question. So for titanium dioxide, one of the key things you can look at is the name, which is their non-greasy sunscreen. So if you look at, because of that descriptor alone, you can also find in the ingredient list, you'll see silica, you'll see kaolin, and you'll see titanium dioxide. Think of these as more texturizers. They're powders that are really going to help lighten the formula, especially for very oily skin types. But Gloria, would you care to comment on how you would feel if you found this in your sunscreen?
I hate them all. Light them on fire. I really can't stand silica in my formula. It's really effective and
It's just very dry skin.
Very dry skin. It's really good providing that dry touch. It's an oil. Those are all oil absorbing powders, but for me it just feels garbage. And we should add that this is the reason why titanium dioxide, which essentially is just a white powder, you'll find it in many non-SPF products like makeup. That's exactly why it's there, is to act as a blurring or oil absorbing powder.
Yeah. On top of that, sometimes they even use it to even just help with how the formula itself looks, to make sure it looks that like classic creamy white look. And you don't need very much of it at all. A cat sneeze, actually.
Yes.
So there you go.
Really great loaded question.
Yeah. All right. Question 2. All right. I've just finished reading the book and loved it. Thank you. It's now a go-to gift for me to give to my friends. Do you have a simple piece of advice for different ages and stages? I like it. Ages and stages.
All right. So for all ages and stages, sunscreen is a must. You might change up the type of sunscreen you like to use, but just remember that SPF 30 to 50 is the sweet spot for daily sunscreen use. And then kind of going back to what we were saying, basically all the basics of skincare, cleansing and moisturizing is important throughout the ages. As you age, skin becomes drier. That's on average is true for everyone.
Yeah.
So say maybe in your 30s, you might start to notice that your classic cream or lotion doesn't really work as well anymore. And in your 40s, that effect might become even more pronounced. So you might want to look for something creamier with higher level occlusives, such as shea butter, petrolatum, mineral oil.
Yeah. And in terms of actives wise, I would say one of the great actives to look at in your 20s is ascorbic acid, vitamin C. Whew, okay, slow down.
What are we drinking, Victoria?
Yes, what are we drinking? So the backstory is when we first started this whole journey, alcohol is our responsible vice, and we like to make what we call trash teenies. And so, as paying homage to trash teenies, we are mixing calpico, tequila, and a lime wedge, just
Classy.
to, make it a little classier.
Anyway,
Anyways.
sorry, actives.
Okay, active. So 20s, really consider ascorbic acid. It's got so much data. If you haven't read the chapter, no worries, but give it a read. It's got a lot of benefits just and one of the main things is age prevention. You're talking about preventing from that, quenching those free radicals, preventing from photo damage, all of that. So with that, that's a great active to incorporate when you're first getting started into this whole actives realm. I would say 30s is a great time to start getting into retinoids. When you start thinking about fine lines and wrinkles, it's a great time to dabble in it, and you don't even need a lot of it. You can start at a very low dose of like 0.1%.
And I will argue that, as Victoria said, it's getting to retinoids in your 30s is almost like prepping for you ramping it up in your 40s. Someone like me, I'm in my 30s, I can't tolerate retinoids very well. My priority is still to dabble in it, understand how my skin responds to it, get used to it, but making sure that I'm not overly irritating skin.
For sure. And then 40s is when you're really starting to learn how to layer all the actives. You can take something from pigmentation actives, from retinoids, from even AHAs, which we didn't even mention yet. Being able to learn how to use all of that in your routine in a non-irritating way. That's really it.
And then takeaway is still use sunscreen because prevention is just the best.
Yeah. All right. Question 3. What do you think would be the best protocol for a teenager, 17 years old, to clear skin and take away leftover marks after finishing Accutane?
Ooh, this question's all Victoria.
Congrats on finishing Accutane. That is quite a gritty time period. It's a long journey, so that's awesome.
Did you have the works in terms of side effects when you were on Accutane?
Actually, never was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so at the time that Accutane was around and a main issue, the dosing was quite high, so very afraid of side effects. But nowadays they're starting to do microdosing. People are getting great results, and it's really not as bad. So I'm fully for it now, but before, during my time, I was like very, very afraid of that. But yeah. Anyway, so for Accutane, one thing to think about is this is where, as Gloria had read, the pigmentation chapter really comes in handy to give you some ideas of how to incorporate these pigmentation actives into your routine. You need a cocktail. There's benefits to, adding AHAs on top of, a tyrosinase inhibitor serum. And then the other thing to think about is just if you don't sunscreen, it's going to make trying to clear those leftover marks worse, because sun will cause those marks to darken. So that is like a very important, very necessary step, even though the thought of putting on sunscreen on breakouts and acne prone skin, just even now for me, it does give me hives. So that would be also a big thing.
Yeah, and definitely remember to exfoliate. I think for something like leftover skin marks, chemical exfoliants like lactic acid, glycolic acid is going to be more effective in the long run than, say, a physical exfoliant. So definitely is a good time to get into that. Nothing super aggressive, but just enough to keep skin going. The good thing is, you're 17, your skin will recover. It might take a little bit of patience, but it will get there.
I wanted to ask Gloria, because one of the most common things with people on Accutane is that you usually have very dry skin.
Yeah.
Yeah. So any advice on that end?
I think this might feel a little, it might be a little queasy to think about when you have oily skin, but we always like to say get comfortable with the idea of spot treating. You always know everyone has their hot zones, right? The places where you know will flake. Try not to be afraid of cleansing your skin thoroughly, then dabbing on a little bit of, say, Vaseline, something balmy, something thicker, just on those spots to help you help you recover.
Yeah.
The reality is occlusives is very, very low in moisturizers that claim oil-free or acne skin friendly. But sometimes when you have these like really deeply combination skin, you really need those on the dry spots.
Yeah. All right. Next question. Oh, actually, one more thing. For 17-year-old skin, there is hope. Don't let the post-acne marks like bother you. You have youthful skin. The healing process can be much easier than someone, say, dealing, fortunately, in their much older years like ours. So yeah, there's hope yet. Number 4, can I use glycolic acid before 0.5% retinol?
Yeah, so we generally advise using glycolic acid and retinol on different nights. That's not a set in stone rule, so it does kind of depend on what glycolic product. 0.5 retinol is very potent for most people, highly effective, great dosing. So if you're using, say, a toner that isn't very super acidic, let's say it's a 8% glycolic acid toner in the pH of 3.5 to 4 regime, we would say, yeah, it's okay to use them in the same routine. It does boil down to how everyone's skin responds. Blending AHAs with retinoids is very common if you're a little bit more advanced in skin active. But for a beginner that's just getting used to retinol, this can lead to a straight shot to overexfoliation.
Yeah, and I would say that a lot of acne routines probably do a big combo or are used to combining all of these two. Yeah. All right, and I think we have one more question. Number 5, is mineral sunscreen a must?
Negative!
Yeah, so yeah, lately there's a lot of marketing basically pushing minerals and whatnot, but at the end of the day, it's about what works for your skin, chemical or mineral. So for me especially, I tend to tan easily, get darker skin in the summer, and with that, a lot of minerals don't work for me because it can make me look very mimish. Not really what I like to do, or what I like to look like. So yeah, I would say that, you know, we always say texture is king. What are you comfortable reapplying? That's all that matters. Chemical, mineral doesn't matter. Yeah. All right. So yeah, I guess it's time to kind of reveal the winner of our giveaway. Today. We just really want to thank you guys for coming, and we really wanted to just have a raffle winner for this one event. And so for the contest, they're going to receive a copy of Skincare Decoded. We're going to give you the moisturizer line that also includes Mr. Reliable as well, for you guys to try. Blank Slate, and then Baby Steps, our gentle exfoliator, just as a big thank you, and also for just supporting us through the whole book event. So yeah, and we have a drum roll, I heard. I heard. Let's see. Maybe not. Okay, we'll drum roll ourselves. All right, so the winner for the contest is Sandy McMaster. Thank you so much. We will get your address, and then we will ship you a box of goodies.
Yeah, Kaya, sorry you missed out, but message us. We have samples and whatnot, and we'd love to send you a set as well.
I think we also we did this a little out of order, but we still have some live questions that we'd like to answer for you guys.
I'm sorry. Yes, we have
our first event of this whole Chemist Confessions, I don't know, project, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah. So we're going to answer a couple live questions, and then we'll wrap it up. All right, so this is from Colleen Loster. She asks, I know we're kind of waiting to see the results the FDA comes up with when they do more testing of chemical sunscreen filters to see how much they're entering our bloodstream and if they're harmful. But is this true of just FDA approved sunscreen filters, or are they also testing internationally approved filters? I have to assume that other international government bodies have thoroughly tested these filters and have determined that they're safe, but maybe that's just wishful thinking on my part.
Oof,
Yeah.
that is a really great question. So the FDA itself, as far as I know, obviously there might be studies that's going on behind closed doors that we are not aware of yet. They are focused on U.S. approved filters at the moment. And in terms of, I actually went to, right before COVID, I went to the Society of Cosmetic Chemists update on the sunscreen situation. A lot of it is ongoing and does highlight that a lot of the testing, there's just so much unknown. For example, let's say we found out that they tested, don't quote me on the number because I don't have the paper in front of me. Let's say they found that there is 4 nanograms of avobenzone in your bloodstream. But there isn't a standard to what that means, because dose makes the poison, dose makes the elixir. Is that a terrible level, or is that just normal metabolism standards? We don't really know. So yes, we are waiting for that. In terms of international filters, EU and different zones in Asia, they all have their different testing methods. Has it been tested the same way the FDA has in terms of bloodstream? No, there are a lot of papers that show that these international filters don't enter the bloodstream. They are safe and effective to use to those zones standard, but that doesn't mean they've been exposed to the same test that the FDA has recently done.
Yeah, I think you summed that up pretty well. I know it sounds scary, but again, like, you know, it's a good thing. Honestly, this test is going to force the FDA to have to really go back and really look at their testing protocols and really understand, like, what does that mean? Does that mean now we need to come up with an actual level per ingredient? Do we need to look at the safety levels, even just the protocol itself, you know? And so with that, I would say, don't fear too much. The enemy is still the sun. You need to use a sunscreen as protection for your skin. And so, and we still do too, even after reading those results. So hopefully there's some comfort in that. And another question. Hi, I'm Maria from Chile. Hi, Dr. Beauty Chile. She's our good friend. I'd like to know, what do you think about having a cosmetic silence day to let our skin work by itself? So I've actually never heard the term cosmetic silence day, but I'm going to assume that it means having your skin take a day of break from anything cosmetic. So I would say yes and no. One of the things that we always say is, like, with actives, especially high-level actives like retinoids, there's nothing wrong with taking a day of rest.
Or 3.
Exactly. Your skincare, you are the master of your skincare routine, and you are the expert of your own skin and your skin history. And so for you, if that is what works for you and makes your skin happy, then please, by all means, do that. Do you need a break from all skincare products for a day? I probably would say no, and the reason being because cleansing your skin is very important, and it's important to skin health. And I would say this is probably the one aspect, and also sunscreen, that you would want to be able to use all day, every day, if you are out in the sun all the time.
Yeah, agree.
Yeah. So other than that, is that it?
I think thanks everyone for coming.
Yeah.
I think we'll be uploading it to our channel, so for those of you who want to watch a whole thing but couldn't make it for the whole event, we understand that this is lunchtime for a lot of people. We'll be uploading this clips and or the whole video to our channels.
Yeah.
So find us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, or go to our website if you want to read more about skincare. And our book is sold most places books are sold, so Amazon, Target, Barnes and Noble. So yeah.
And definitely want to add, if you have bought the book and haven't gotten our enhanced content, please either email us or go to our website and head to our book page. That way you can enter your info, and we what we'll do is we email you the enhanced content. We're very proud of this portion because Gloria had mentioned before, we weren't able to talk about products in the book. Sometimes the best way to learn is through examples, and we have actual product examples on how to build your routine per skin concern, which we're really happy to put together for you guys. So if you haven't already, definitely check that out on our website. But otherwise, thank you guys so much for
Thanks
coming.
for coming. And if you read
We
the
did
book,
it.
we appreciate a review on
Yeah.
Amazon, wherever you got the book from.
Yeah. But anyways, have a great day. Have a great weekend coming up and a great summer. You know where to find us if you have more skincare questions. We'll be here. So thanks, guys. Bye. Woohoo.
Dun, dun, dun,
Time to
dun,
leave.
dun, dun.
All right. Bye, guys.